What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's daily market recap. In today's episode, I'm going to break down each of my trades from the morning. It won't take too long because I only took 3 trades. However, my accuracy was 100%. That's the good news. I was a little bit of a sniper today. I said I got to be really focused. Yesterday was a little choppy. I was kind of, taking a bunch of trades. I went green, I went red, I got back to green, and then I gave back some profit. I just didn't want to do that today. Now, having said that, if there had been a stock on the scanner first thing this morning that was really hot, I would have jumped in and got aggressive. But that was the first problem. I sat down this morning and man, we just didn't have a lot on the scanners. So the first stock that I pulled up this morning, let's go back on our scans to about 7 a.m. By the way, for those of you guys tuning in perhaps for the first time, I do a recap every single day, whether it's a red day or green day. So hope you guys hit that thumbs up. I hope you're subscribed to the channel. And we're going to dive in here. So CGTL was our leading percentage gainer this morning. It was up about 100%. However, Chinese company with no news and also with a history of big red candles on the daily chart. So I was immediately skeptical, wasn't sure it was going to work. But what's interesting on this one is that you actually got a really nice pulling away pattern. So the stock popped up early, 4 a.m., pulled back, popped up again, but it only broke through the high by a couple pennies. Right? Then it sells off, then it comes up again. And what you can start to recognize is that you have a little bit of an ascending support trend line in here where it's kind of basing out and holding this level. So when it makes a low, that low is higher than the previous low. So we're kind of stair-stepping up a little bit, right? I mean, it's at least the lows are a little bit higher. So we're kind of basing out. And what ends up happening here is it ends up popping up, pulling back, and then that right there gives you a nice bull flag for a squeeze higher. A little dip right there, and then another push higher, a teeny dip there, and then another push higher all the way up to 205. So I pulled up the scans at around 6:30 this morning on my phone, and that's when I saw this. But the first thing I checked was the daily chart and the news, and I just thought, no, all right, this is gonna be a problem. And then by the time I was sitting down closer to 7 a.m., which is when I start my live broadcast for members here at Warrior Trading, and for those of you guys doing the 2-week trial, there'll be a link posted in the description. This is already pulling back. So this was a no-go. That was CGTL, first stock on the scanner. YHC hit the scanner, doesn't see anything really to trade on it, popped up, reversed quickly. Also history on the chart, daily chart of big rejection. Then NEHC comes up on the scanner and I said, no, I don't think so, it's too cheap. Now, yesterday, I actually lost almost $9,000 on a cheap penny stock like this, squeezed up kind of like this. I got in right here for the breakthrough. This was on the one yesterday, but it was a very similar chart. I got in at $1.40 for the breakthrough $1.50 with 40,000 shares. Now it's a big position, but generally with this type of stock, it's cheaper. Usually the spreads are pretty tight, and they were in that case. So I thought I'd be okay with a 5 or maybe 8 cent stop. So $2,000 to $4,000 of risk. But I really thought it was going to break through $1.50 pretty much immediately, and I was going to be able to get, $4,000 or $5,000 of profit out of it. Well, it ended up flushing 20 cents, and I'm instantly down 8,000. And by the time I sold it, I was down 9. So today, when I saw this lower price stock come up, and knowing the only real way to make good money on it is to take big size, but that hadn't worked well yesterday, I thought, nah, I think I'm going to pass. So no trades on that one. And then we had NIVF hit the scanner, and this one now has a well-established history of popping and dropping. It's done it several times on the daily chart, so no interest. AIHS hits the scanner. I don't see really a good setup on it. It just sort of immediately pops up, then reverses. And then SOAR hits the scanner, SOAR. And this one is the first one that I traded. So why did I trade this? Well, initially, when it first popped up, I didn't trade it. It pops up right here, and I was like, well, $2 to $3.50, that's good, but let's just see if it holds up. It dips down, it comes back up here, and I was honestly surprised that it rallied from $2.75 all the way back up to $3.50. But when it did, I said, all right, let's watch this for a second, because this created a double top, and then right here we started to create the handle for a cup and handle formation, and so I ended up buying right here for the breakthrough this level. So it ends up going right here from about 340, which is around where I got in, to anticipate the break through the high, and it goes up to 370. I ended up making about 10 cents a share on this move. So from like 45 to 55 average. Not a huge winner, but green, that's good. It then pulls back, dips down, and it comes back up a second time. Now, I was considering trading it right here, but this was a big drop. It went from $1.60 or $3.60 all the way down to $2.90, and then it comes all the way back up. So I was sort of like, I don't know, popped up, dropped down. I just felt like buying it right at the high of day here for the break at 370 was too expensive, but it ended up working. It goes up to 390. It then pulls back, comes back up again to about 390. And I'm sort of watching it right here. And as it pops up, it ends up breaking through 4, dipping right here. And I bought this dip right here following that break of 4 and took profit as it squeezed up. Oh, let's see. It was right here. So I got in right here. We were over 4. And when we were holding over 4, I got in there for the squeeze higher. In this area here, I guess I don't remember exactly. Where was it? So you know what I was looking for is I was looking for a big bid at 4. I wanted to see it firmly hold over 4, but it kept sort of jumping up and down here. So I waited. And then when it came up again here to 405 and dipped down, there was a bigger buyer. And so I said, all right, I'll take a stab at this. And this was also a 1-minute setup. And so got that trade there. Consolidates, was considering getting back in, but didn't, just was like, I don't know. And in fact, right at about 8:25, we had the scanner starting to fire off some alerts on RSLS right here. So that was the second stock I traded. So RSLS, so I got 2 trades on SOAR, green on both of them. RSLS hits the scanner, and initially, I'm not totally sure, daily chart, couple green candles, but then it sold off heavily. Now there is a gap on the daily chart, as you can see here, from 275, the high of this candle, to the low of this candle here, which is 411. And we got perfect gap fill today. It's a gap fill setup. So on this one, the way I ended up trading it was I bought the break of the double top as well. Came up to the double top, dipped down for a second, got in almost like a miniature cup and handle. And I made about $776 on that trade. It then sold off, and that was it. And as we got closer to the open, although there were some other stocks hit the scanner, none of them really looked good to me. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's 10 a.m., 10:30, and I'm like, well, I'm going to call it a day. $6,743.69. It's a small green day, but it's a green day. Certainly better than a red day. And at this point, I'm kind of just trying to survive the week, trying to get through the week. I'll say that last week was phenomenal. The momentum was amazing, great trades. And I got way ahead on the month of, where I expected. And now this week, I've kind of had to take my foot off the gas. I was red on Monday, and then Tuesday was good. Wednesday, a little close call because I went from green to red before going back to green. And then today, without anything really good on the scanner, I say, you know what? I think I better just, pump the brakes and slow down. Now, you may recall last week we had, or what day was it? It was Thursday or Friday. We had the IPO on Circle. This is the crypto stock. Well, it's stablecoin market. So it ends up IPOing at like $70 a share versus the initial IPO price, which was like 30 or something. Makes this huge move and made some good money on that, about $38,000. So today we have another IPO, CHYM. However, this one hasn't started trading yet. It's indicating 43.20 right now, approximately. But if we look at the IPO calendar, so you'll see this is it's a financial company. It's a startup tech company from San Francisco. IPO price like $24, $26 a share, 32 million shares. It's obviously indicating right now that it's going to open above that price. This is a company that initially got ready to do an IPO back in 2021, and then they decided not to do it. The market there wasn't as strong for tech IPOs as it is today, and as you could see just from the indication price. However, I want to caution jumping into just any stock that IPOs. What was the one yesterday? So we've been, VOYG maybe. So we've been having some of these IPOs that work, but then we've been having some others that are a little nasty, like this one. And so my question is, how hyped up is this IPO? How excited are people about this IPO? Just opening higher by itself is good, but I want to see that people are really hyped up about it. And there were a lot of people really excited about the Circle IPO, and there was some big institutional money behind it, but that's not going to be the case on all of them. So just have to exercise a little bit of caution there. And today, I don't feel I have the cushion or the risk tolerance, and so I'm not going to take any more trades. So at this point, shutting it down with $6,700 of profit, and I'll live to trade another day. So I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning, and I'll be streaming at 7 a.m. for members here at Warrior Trading. All right, so I'll see you guys in the morning. A reminder as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so please manage your risk, take it slow, and always practice these new strategies you're learning in a simulator before putting real money on the line.